The universe was vast, endless, and mostly quiet. Stars twinkled like tiny diamonds scattered across a black canvas, their light traveling unimaginable distances to reach even the faintest corners of existence. In one such corner of the galaxy, a fleet of alien ships moved silently through space. Their sleek metallic hulls shimmered faintly under the dim glow of distant suns as they approached Earth, a small blue planet hanging delicately in the darkness. Commander Xylar stood tall on the bridge of his flagship, his sharp eyes scanning the holographic display before him. He was a proud leader, known throughout the Vorthakian Empire for his tactical brilliance and unyielding ambition. His species had conquered countless worlds, subjugating weaker civilizations and claiming their resources without mercy. To them, conquest wasn't just a means of survival. It was an art form. And now, after years of careful observation, Earth was next on their list. "Status report," Xylar barked, his voice echoing through the command center. One of his officers stepped forward, clutching a data tablet nervously. "We are within range of Earth's atmosphere, Commander. Scans confirm that their technology remains primitive, no sign of advanced weaponry or interstellar capabilities." Xylar smirked. Primitive. That word always brought him satisfaction. It meant easy victories, quick domination, and minimal resistance. For decades, the Vorthakians had watched humanity from afar, studying their behavior through telescopes and intercepted transmissions. They saw wars erupt over trivial matters, nations divided by greed and hatred, and entire ecosystems destroyed by reckless expansion. Humans were clever, yes, but disorganized, weak, fragile. Surely they wouldn't pose much of a challenge. But still, something about Earth bothered Xylar. Despite all their flaws, humans thrived where others failed. Even when faced with disasters, natural or man-made, they rebuilt, adapted, and grew stronger. It was almost admirable, though Xylar would never admit it aloud. Instead, he pushed those thoughts aside, focusing instead on the mission ahead. "Prepare the landing forces," he ordered, turning back to the hologram. "Deploy cloaking fields around the fleet. We'll strike at dawn, catching them off guard." His crew scrambled to obey, their movements precise and efficient. The Vorthakians prided themselves on their discipline, their ability to execute complex operations without hesitation. This invasion would be no different. Within hours, Earth would belong to them, or so they thought. As the alien fleet drifted closer to Earth, strange readings began to appear on their sensors. At first they dismissed them as anomalies, cosmic radiation perhaps, or interference from Earth's magnetic field. But the signals persisted, growing stronger with each passing moment. Frowning, Xylar leaned forward, examining the data more closely. "What is this?" he demanded, pointing at a cluster of blinking dots on the screen. "Explain." Another officer hesitated, clearly unsure how to respond. "It's difficult to say, Commander. These readings suggest large objects in Earth's orbit, but they don't match any known satellites or space debris." Xylar's frown deepened. "Large objects? Impossible. Humanity didn't have the technology to construct anything significant beyond their own planet. Yet there they were, massive structures floating silently above Earth's surface, hidden beneath layers of atmospheric distortion. Whatever they were, they radiated heat signatures and energy patterns unlike anything the Vorthakians had encountered before. Curiosity gnawed at Xylar, but caution held him back. If these objects were indeed artificial, and if they belonged to humans, that could complicate things. Perhaps Earth wasn't as defenseless as they'd assumed, or maybe it was some other alien race meddling in human affairs. Either way, it bore investigating further. "Send a probe," Xylar commanded finally. "I want detailed scans of those things, and keep our distance. We can't afford surprises." A small drone detached itself from the mothership, its engines humming softly as it descended toward Earth. Meanwhile, aboard the Vorthakian vessels, tension began to build. Soldiers checked their weapons, engineers monitored the ship's systems, and pilots ran simulations for potential combat scenarios. No one spoke openly about their unease, but it lingered in the air like static electricity. Down on Earth, life went on as usual. People went to work, children played in parks, and cities buzzed with activity. Few paid attention to the night sky, let alone notice the unusual shimmering lights that occasionally flickered across the horizon. Those who did see them shrugged it off as weather phenomena or optical illusions. After all, why would anyone suspect that aliens were lurking just beyond the atmosphere? Unbeknownst to most, however, humanity had been preparing for this day for years. Decades earlier, scientists exploring Antarctica stumbled upon something extraordinary, an ancient alien spacecraft buried deep beneath the ice. Inside, they discovered not only remnants of advanced technology, but also detailed schematics for constructing starships capable of rivaling even the greatest powers in the galaxy. Realizing the implications, world leaders secretly formed a coalition to develop these designs into reality. The result was the Sentinel Fleet, a network of massive star destroyers built using reverse-engineered alien tech. Designed to blend seamlessly with Earth's environment, the Sentinels used holographic camouflage to disguise themselves as clouds, auroras, or other natural occurrences. Only when activated did they reveal their true nature: gleaming titans, bristling with weapons and shields far beyond anything humanity had ever created. Commander Rachel Hayes oversaw the entire operation from her underground command center. A former astronaut turned military strategist, she had dedicated her life to ensuring Earth's survival against threats both terrestrial and extraterrestrial. When reports came in of unidentified ships entering Earth's vicinity, she immediately sprang into action. "Bring me visuals," she said calmly, her piercing gaze fixed on the monitors before her. Images appeared instantly, showing the Vorthakian fleet hovering ominously in orbit. Rachel studied them carefully, noting their size, shape, and positioning. She recognized the design. It matched descriptions from classified documents detailing encounters with hostile alien races elsewhere in the galaxy. "They're here," she murmured half to herself. Then louder, "Activate the Sentinels. Let's show them what happens when you mess with Earth." Her team worked quickly, inputting commands and initiating protocols. Across the globe, hundreds of Sentinels powered up simultaneously, shedding their disguises to expose their formidable frames. Energy hummed through their systems as they positioned themselves strategically around the invading fleet. Within minutes, the Vorthakians found themselves surrounded, not by primitive humans, armed with sticks and stones, but by machines of unimaginable power. Back on the mothership, chaos erupted as the truth became undeniable. The mysterious objects detected earlier were indeed artificial, and they belonged to Earth. Worse still, they outnumbered and outgunned the Vorthakians by a staggering margin. Panic spread among the crew as they scrambled to make sense of what they were seeing. Xylar clenched his fist tightly, his mind racing. How could this be? How had humanity managed to create such advanced technology without anyone noticing? More importantly, what should he do now? Retreat? Fight? Negotiate? For the first time in his long career, Commander Xylar felt truly afraid. Earth was supposed to be an easy target, a stepping stone on the path to galactic supremacy. Instead, it had become a nightmare, a trap waiting to spring shut. And somewhere deep inside, he couldn't help but wonder, had they underestimated humanity too much? Had arrogance blinded them to the possibility that Earth might actually be worth fearing? Little did Xylar know, the worst was yet to come. For while the Vorthakians struggled to comprehend the situation, Earth's defenders prepared to deliver a message loud and clear, one that would resonate not only through the stars but also through the annals of history. Commander Rachel Hayes stood at the center of Earth's underground command center, her sharp eyes scanning the rows of monitors displaying real-time data from the Sentinel fleet. The room buzzed with activity. Technicians typed furiously on keyboards, officers exchanged urgent whispers, and holographic projections flickered overhead, showing the positions of both Earth's ships and the Vorthakian fleet. Despite the chaos around her, Rachel remained calm, her expression unreadable, but focused. She had spent years preparing for this moment, a moment when humanity would finally face its first true extraterrestrial threat. It wasn't arrogance that drove her, it was necessity. When scientists discovered the ancient alien wreckage buried beneath Antarctica decades ago, they realized two things immediately. 1. Humanity was not alone in the universe. And 2. If Earth wanted to survive, it needed to evolve quickly. The discovery changed everything. Governments that once fought over borders and ideologies came together under a single banner, the Global Defense Initiative, GDI. Money poured into research facilities, factories churned out components day and night, and thousands of people worked tirelessly to construct what would become Earth's greatest weapon, the Sentinel fleet. Each Sentinel was a marvel of engineering, combining reverse-engineered alien technology with human ingenuity. Their hulls were made of an alloy stronger than steel, yet lighter than aluminum, capable of withstanding even plasma-based attacks. Energy shields enveloped them like invisible armor, deflecting projectiles and lasers alike, and their weapons? Beam cannons powerful enough to slice through asteroids or enemy ships with ease. But perhaps the most impressive feature of the Sentinels was their ability to remain hidden. Using advanced holographic camouflage systems, they blended seamlessly into Earth's environment, appearing as clouds, auroras, or even storm patterns depending on the region. To any observer, including curious aliens, they looked like natural phenomena, harmless and unremarkable. But once activated, they transformed into gleaming titans ready to defend their home planet at all costs. Rachel knew this advantage gave Earth the upper hand. While the Vorthakians believed they were dealing with a primitive species, they were about to discover just how wrong they were. On board the Vorthakian mothership, confusion reigned supreme. Commander Xyler paced back and forth across the bridge, his tail whipping angrily behind him. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Crix, watched nervously as the commander muttered curses under his breath. "This can't be happening," Xyler growled, glaring at the holographic display showing Earth's newly revealed fleet. "How could these savages build such machines?" Crix hesitated before responding. "Perhaps they didn't build them, sir. Maybe another species provided the technology." Xylar stopped mid-step, his golden eyes narrowing dangerously. "You think I haven't considered that?" he snapped. "If another race intervened here, why haven't we detected their presence before now? No, this is something else entirely, something we failed to anticipate." Silence fell over the bridge as everyone absorbed his words. For centuries, the Vorthakians had prided themselves on their dominance in the galaxy. They conquered weaker civilizations, plundered their resources, and moved on without looking back. Never had they encountered resistance like this, not until now. Xylar turned to his communications officer. "Send a message to their leader, or whoever commands those ships. Demand an explanation." The officer nodded and began typing rapidly. Moments later, a transmission was sent to Earth's fleet. But instead of receiving a response, the Vorthakians found themselves staring at a new set of images broadcast directly onto their screens. It was footage of Earth's cities, bustling with life. People walked down streets lined with shops. Children played in parks, and families gathered around dinner tables. Then the video shifted, showing massive hangars filled with Sentinels being constructed by teams of engineers. Blueprints appeared next, detailing every aspect of the starship's design, from their energy cores to their cloaking mechanisms. Finally, a voice spoke in perfect Vorthakian. "Welcome to Earth. We've been expecting you." Gasps rippled through the crew. How did humans know their language? How had they prepared so thoroughly? Questions swirled in Xylar's mind, but one thing was clear. Earth had been planning for this confrontation long before the Vorthakians arrived. Back in the command center, Rachel allowed herself a small smile as she watched the reaction unfold aboard the alien fleet. She had anticipated their shock, their disbelief, and even their fear. After all, no one liked being outsmarted, especially not arrogant invaders who thought they could stroll into someone else's territory unopposed. "Ma'am," called Lieutenant Carter, one of her top advisors. "They're attempting to respond." Rachel raised an eyebrow. "Let me guess, they want answers." Carter nodded. "Yes, ma'am. They're demanding to know who we are and where this technology came from." Rachel chuckled softly. "They'll get their answers soon enough. For now, let's keep them guessing. She turned to another officer. Initiate Operation Skyfall. Deploy half the Sentinels to form a blockade around their fleet. Make sure they understand there's no escape. As orders were relayed, the Sentinels sprang into action. Dozens of the massive ships moved into position, encircling the Vorthakian fleet like wolves trapping prey. Their energy shields flared brightly as they assumed defensive stances, daring the invaders to make a move. Up close, the Sentinels were even more intimidating. Each ship towered over the Vorthakian vessels, their sleek designs exuding power and precision. Weapons turrets rotated slowly, tracking every movement of the enemy fleet. If the aliens tried anything, even firing a warning shot, they'd regret it instantly. Meanwhile, on Earth, news of the standoff spread rapidly. At first, only military personnel and government officials were aware of the situation. However, as reports leaked online, panic began to ripple through the general population. Social media platforms lit up with speculation. Videos of strange lights in the sky went viral, and conspiracy theories ran rampant. Rachel had anticipated this too. Transparency was crucial during times like these. Within hours, she authorized a global broadcast explaining the situation. Standing before cameras, she addressed billions of people worldwide. "Citizens of Earth," she began, her tone steady and reassuring. "You may have noticed unusual activity in our skies recently. Let me assure you, we are safe. Our planet has faced many challenges throughout history, and today is no different. Thanks to the hard work and dedication of countless individuals, we have developed a defense system capable of protecting us against any threat, whether terrestrial or extraterrestrial." She paused, letting her words sink in. Behind her, images of the Sentinels flashed across the screen, showcasing their size, strength, and capabilities. These ships represent the culmination of decades of effort, a testament to what humanity can achieve when we unite toward a common goal. Rest assured, we will not tolerate aggression against our planet. Any hostile forces attempting to harm us will face swift and decisive consequences. Her speech ended with thunderous applause. Across the globe, people cheered, hugged loved ones, and shared messages of hope and unity. For the first time in history, humanity truly felt like a single species, rather than a collection of divided nations. High above Earth, the Vorthakians watched helplessly as the Sentinels tightened their grip. Xylar clenched his fists tightly, frustration boiling inside him. He had always relied on brute force and superior firepower to achieve victory, but now, for the first time, he found himself questioning whether those tactics would work. "What do we do, Commander?" asked Crix quietly. Xylar didn't answer right away. Instead, he stared at the hologram, his mind racing. Retreat was unthinkable. It would mean admitting defeat and losing face in front of his superiors. Attack seemed equally futile given the overwhelming odds. That left only one option: negotiation. "Open a channel," he said finally. "Tell them we wish to discuss terms of peace." His crew exchanged nervous glances but obeyed without question. As the transmission was sent, Xylar couldn't shake the feeling that he had already lost. Earth had proven itself far more cunning and dangerous than anyone could have imagined. And somewhere deep down he wondered, was this the beginning of the end for the Vorthakian Empire? Little did Xylar know, humanity wasn't interested in negotiations. Not this time. After centuries of war and division, Earth had finally found something worth fighting for: its survival. And Rachel Hayes intended to make sure the aliens understood exactly what that meant. Unite or perish. That was the choice facing the Vorthakians now. And judging by their terrified expressions, they weren't eager to test Earth's resolve. The standoff between Earth's Sentinels and the Vorthakian fleet grew more intense with each passing moment. High above Earth's atmosphere, the two forces faced off silently, their ships locked in a deadly game of chess. For Commander Xylar and his crew, every second felt like an eternity. The once confident Vorthakians now found themselves trapped, surrounded by machines far superior to anything they had ever encountered. Commander Rachel Hayes, on the other hand, remained calm and composed. She had spent years preparing for this exact scenario, anticipating every possible move an enemy might make. Now, as she watched the holographic display showing the positions of both fleets, she knew it was time to strike. Not with brute force, but with something far more devastating: psychological warfare. "Lieutenant Carter," Rachel said, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation, "initiate Operation Mind Games." Carter nodded and relayed the order to the rest of the team. Within moments, encrypted messages began broadcasting directly into the Vorthakian communication network. These weren't ordinary transmissions. They contained detailed schematics of the Sentinel's technology, mocking commentary about the inferiority of the Vorthakian fleet, and even recordings of previous alien invasions that had ended disastrously for the aggressors. Xyler stared at the screen in disbelief as the data flooded his ship's systems. Every piece of information reinforced one undeniable truth: Earth was not just prepared, it was ready. And worse, the humans seemed to know everything about the Vorthakians, from their weakest points to their most embarrassing failures. This is impossible," Xylar exclaimed, slamming his fist against the console. His officers exchanged uneasy glances, unsure how to respond. They had never seen their commander so shaken before. "What do we do now, sir?" asked Lieutenant Crix. Hesitantly, Xyler took a deep breath, trying to regain his composure. "We adapt," he growled. "They may have the advantage now, but they won't hold it forever. Prepare our attack drones. We'll hit them hard and fast, before they can react." Back on Earth, Rachel monitored the situation closely. She had anticipated Xylar's response. After all, arrogance was a common trait among conquerors, and the Vorthakians were no exception. When cornered, they would lash out, hoping to overwhelm their opponents through sheer aggression. But Rachel knew better than to underestimate them. Even desperate enemies could inflict damage if given the chance. "Ma'am," Lieutenant Carter reported, "they're launching attack drones. Looks like they're targeting the outer perimeter of our blockade." Rachel nodded. "Let them come. Divert power to the Sentinel's shields and prepare the countermeasures." The Vorthakian drones swarmed toward the Sentinels like insects, firing plasma bolts and attempting to breach the energy barriers. But the Sentinels absorbed every hit effortlessly, their shields glowing brighter with each impact. Then, without warning, the human ships retaliated. Bright beams of energy shot out from the Sentinels' cannons, slicing through the swarm with surgical precision. One by one, the drones exploded into fiery bursts, their wreckage drifting aimlessly in space. The entire exchange lasted less than a minute, but its message was clear. Earth's defenses were impenetrable. On board the Vorthakian mothership, panic spread rapidly. Soldiers whispered nervously among themselves, speculating about the true nature of these mysterious starships. Some suggested they were built by another alien race, secretly allied with Earth. Others wondered if humanity itself had evolved beyond recognition. During the centuries, the Vorthakians had ignored them. Xylar tried to maintain control, barking orders and demanding updates from his crew. But even he couldn't hide the fear creeping into his mind. This wasn't supposed to happen. Earth was supposed to be weak, divided, and easy to conquer. Instead, it had become a fortress, a nightmare wrapped in steel and energy. As the battle raged on, news of the confrontation continued to spread across Earth. People gathered in streets and parks watching live feeds of the Sentinels in action. Social media platforms buzzed with excitement, pride, and awe. Hashtags like Augur Earthstrong and Sentinel Shield trended globally, uniting humanity in ways that had never been seen before. In New York City, crowds cheered as giant screens displayed footage of the Sentinels obliterating the Vorthakian drones. In Tokyo, families huddled together in living rooms, holding hands and praying for victory. In rural villages across Africa and South America, people lit candles and sang songs of gratitude, celebrating the fact that their planet was finally standing up to a greater threat. Even world leaders who had once been rivals came together publicly, offering words of encouragement and support. The President of the United States addressed the nation alongside the Chinese Premier and the Russian President, emphasizing the importance of unity during times of crisis. "This is not just America's fight, or China's fight, or Russia's fight," the President declared. This is humanity's fight. Together, we will protect our home and show the universe what happens when you mess with Earth." His words resonated deeply, inspiring millions to believe in the possibility of a brighter future. For the first time in history, humanity wasn't defined by borders, races, or religions. It was defined by resilience, courage, and determination. Despite the celebrations on Earth, Rachel knew the fight was far from over. While the Sentinels had successfully repelled the initial wave of attacks, the Vorthakians still outnumbered them. More importantly, Xylar wouldn't give up easily. He was desperate, unpredictable, and dangerous, a combination that made him even more formidable. "Commander," Lieutenant Carter interrupted her thoughts, "we're detecting unusual activity near their flagship. It looks like they're preparing some kind of superweapon." Rachel frowned. "Superweapon? What kind?" "It's hard to say, ma'am. Their energy readings are spiking, but we can't pinpoint the source yet." She thought for a moment, weighing her options. If the Vorthakians managed to deploy whatever weapon they were building, it could tip the balance of power in their favor. On the other hand, rushing to counter it blindly might leave Earth vulnerable to other attacks. "Divide the Sentinels into two groups," Rachel instructed. "One will focus on neutralizing their flagship while the other maintains the blockade. We can't let them gain any ground." Her orders were carried out swiftly. Half of the Sentinels moved closer to the Vorthakian mothership, their weapons trained on its hull. Meanwhile, the remaining ships stayed in position, ensuring the invaders couldn't escape. Aboard the mothership, Xylar watched as the Sentinels closed in. His plan was risky, but it was also his last hope. Using the ship's main reactor, he had redirected all available power to create a massive energy pulse, capable of disabling multiple targets simultaneously. It was a gamble, one that could either save his fleet or destroy them entirely. "Fire the pulse!" Xylar shouted, gripping the edge of his command chair tightly. The mothership shuddered violently as the energy surge erupted outward, bathing nearby Sentinels in blinding light. For a brief moment it seemed to work. Several Sentinels flickered, their shields destabilized by the sudden onslaught. Cheers erupted among the Vorthakian crew, believing they had finally gained the upper hand. But then, something unexpected happened. The Sentinel systems rebooted almost instantly, their shields reactivating stronger than before. At the same time, a barrage of missiles launched from the Sentinels' hulls, targeting the mothership's weakened reactor. "No!" Xylar screamed as alarms blared throughout the ship. The reactor core was critically damaged, leaking radiation and threatening to explode. "Evacuate the bridge. Everyone, abandon ship." Chaos erupted as the crew scrambled to escape. Explosions rocked the vessel, sending debris flying in all directions. Outside, the Sentinels maintained their relentless assault, ensuring the mothership wouldn't survive. For Xylar, failure was unimaginable. As he fled toward an escape pod, he glanced back at the crumbling remains of his once mighty flagship. How had it come to this? How had a species as primitive as humanity managed to outsmart and overpower his own? As the pod launched into space, Xylar clenched his fists tightly, vowing revenge. Earth had humiliated him, but it wouldn't get away with it. Someday, somehow, he would return, and when he did, humanity would pay dearly for their defiance. Back on Earth, Rachel watched the destruction of the Vorthakian mothership with quiet satisfaction. The battle wasn't over yet, but it was a significant victory. Humanity had proven itself capable of defending its home against even the greatest threats. "Good work, everyone," she said softly, addressing her team. "But don't celebrate just yet. We've got more work to do." And indeed they did. The Vorthakian fleet was still intact, though severely weakened. Earth's defenders would need to stay vigilant, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Little did Rachel know, however, that the events unfolding above Earth would have far-reaching consequences, not just for humanity, but for the entire galaxy. Word of Earth's triumph would spread quickly, inspiring allies and enemies alike to rethink their strategies. Conquer Earth? Yeah, not so fast, buddy. The destruction of the Vorthakian mothership sent shockwaves through both fleets. For Commander Xylar, it was a devastating blow. not just because he had lost his flagship, but because it shattered his confidence. He had always believed himself invincible, untouchable, destined to conquer weaker species without resistance. But now, floating helplessly in an escape pod while his fleet struggled to regroup, he realized how wrong he had been. For Commander Rachel Hayes and her team, the victory was a turning point. It proved that Earth's Sentinels were not only capable of defending their planet, but also of taking the fight directly to the enemy. The destruction of the mothership wasn't just a tactical win, it was a psychological one. Every explosion, every burst of light sent a clear message to the invaders. Humanity would not back down, but the battle was far from over. Even without their mothership, the Vorthakians still outnumbered Earth's fleet. Their remaining ships regrouped quickly, forming a defensive formation around Xylar's escape pod. They couldn't afford to lose him. He was their leader, their strategist, and their last hope for survival. "Lieutenant Carter," Rachel said, her voice calm but firm. "Status update." Carter glanced at the monitors before replying. "They've formed a protective perimeter around Xylar's pod. Looks like they're trying to buy time to retreat." Rachel nodded thoughtfully. "Retreat, huh? Not if we can help it." She turned to another officer. "Deploy the Sentinels' phase disruptors. Let's see how well they handle chaos." Phase disruptors were one of Earth's most advanced weapons, designed specifically to counter alien technology. When activated, they emitted pulses of energy that interfered with electronic systems, causing temporary malfunctions. In space combat, this could mean disabling engines, jamming communications, or even shutting down entire ships. As the Sentinels powered up their disruptors, the Vorthakian fleet braced for impact. The first wave of pulses hit like invisible lightning bolts, striking several ships simultaneously. Lights flickered inside the alien vessels as their systems struggled to reboot. Weapons turrets froze mid-rotation, engines sputtered, and communication channels dissolved into static. Commander Xylar gritted his teeth in frustration as his escape pod's controls went haywire. "This isn't possible," he muttered under his breath. "How do they keep outsmarting us?" His officers tried to reassure him, but their voices trembled with fear. None of them had ever faced an enemy like this, one that seemed to anticipate their every move and counter it effortlessly. For the first time in their lives, the Vorthakians felt truly powerless. Back on Earth, people watched the live feeds with bated breath. The broadcasts showed stunning visuals of the Sentinels unleashing their full power, their sleek hulls glowing faintly under the reflected light of distant stars. Beams of energy shot across space, colliding with Vorthakian ships and sending them spiraling out of control. Explosions lit up the darkness, creating brief flashes of brilliance against the void. Social media erupted with excitement. Hashtags like Dark Earth Winds and Sentinel Strike dominated platforms worldwide, accompanied by memes, fan art, and heartfelt messages of gratitude. People who had never cared about space exploration or military strategy suddenly found themselves captivated by the unfolding drama. It wasn't just a battle, it was a symbol of hope, unity, and defiance. In schools, teachers paused lessons to show students the footage. In hospitals, patients gathered around televisions, cheering for humanity's triumph. Even prisoners in correctional facilities joined in the celebration, momentarily forgetting their circumstances to revel in the shared joy of survival. But amidst the jubilation, there were moments of reflection too. Many wondered what this meant for Earth's future. Would other alien races come seeking revenge? Could humanity continue to defend itself indefinitely? Or was this merely the beginning of a larger conflict? Rachel Hayes understood these concerns better than anyone. As much as she wanted to celebrate the victories, she knew the war wasn't won yet. There would be consequences, both immediate and long-term, for standing up to such a powerful adversary. But for now, all she could do was focus on the task at hand, ensuring Earth's safety. On board the surviving Vorthakian ships, morale plummeted. Soldiers whispered nervously among themselves, questioning whether their mission had been doomed. From the start, some suggested surrendering, hoping Earth might show mercy. Others argued for a final, desperate assault, believing death was preferable to humiliation. Xyler listened to their debate silently, his mind racing. Surrender was unthinkable. It would mean admitting defeat and losing face in front of his superiors. Attack seemed equally futile given the overwhelming odds. That left only one option: retreat. Order all ships to break formation, he commanded finally. We'll scatter and flee toward the nearest wormhole. With any luck, they won't be able to pursue us. His officers hesitated, unsure if this was the right decision. But Xyler's tone brooked no argument. Reluctantly, they relayed the order and the remaining ships began dispersing, each heading in a different direction. Rachel watched the Vorthakians' chaotic retreat with satisfaction. "They're running," she murmured, allowing herself a small smile. "Good." Lieutenant Carter leaned closer to her. "Should we pursue them, ma'am?" Rachel shook her head. "No. Let them go. We've made our point. Besides, chasing them into unknown territory could lead to unnecessary risks." Her decision surprised some of her officers, but they trusted her judgment. After all, Rachel had proven time and again that she knew how to handle situations like this. By letting the Vorthakians escape, she ensured Earth wouldn't waste resources pursuing them further. Instead, she focused on securing the planet's defenses and preparing for potential future threats. As the Sentinels returned to their positions around Earth, Rachel addressed her team one last time. "Well done, everyone. Today we showed the universe that Earth is not to be trifled with. But remember, this isn't the end, it's just the beginning." Her words resonated deeply, inspiring everyone in the room to stay vigilant. Humanity had won this round, but the galaxy was vast and full of dangers yet unseen. Meanwhile, aboard one of the fleeing Vorthakian ships, Xyler sat alone in his quarters, replaying the events in his mind. He had failed, not just himself, but his entire race. Earth had proven itself stronger, smarter, and more resourceful than anyone could have imagined. And worst of all, word of this defeat would spread throughout the galaxy, tarnishing the Vorthakians' reputation forever. For hours, Xyler stared blankly at the wall, consumed by anger and shame. But eventually his thoughts shifted. Failure didn't mean the end. It meant learning, adapting, and growing stronger. Someday, somehow he would return. And when he did, humanity would pay dearly for their defiance. Back on Earth, celebrations continued long into the night. Fireworks lit up skies across the globe. Music blared from speakers, and strangers embraced as if they were old friends. For the first time in history, humanity truly acted as one, not divided by borders, ideologies, or beliefs, but united by a common goal: survival. Rachel stood outside the command center, gazing up at the stars. She felt proud of what humanity had accomplished, but she also knew the road ahead would be challenging. Other alien races would hear of Earth's victory and react accordingly, some with admiration, others with hostility. Still, she allowed herself a moment of peace. Tonight, humanity had earned the right to celebrate. Tomorrow, they would prepare for whatever came next. Conquer Earth? Yeah, not so fast, buddy. The Vorthakian fleet limped away from Earth's orbit, their ships battered and broken, their pride shattered beyond repair. Commander Xyler sat silently in his escape pod, staring out at the vast expanse of space as his people fled toward the nearest wormhole. Each passing second felt like an eternity, filled with regret, anger, and a burning desire for revenge. He had underestimated humanity, and now he would pay the price for that mistake. But even in defeat, Xyler couldn't deny the brilliance of Earth's strategy. The Sentinels weren't just machines. They were symbols of human ingenuity, resilience, and adaptability. They represented everything that made humanity dangerous, not brute strength or advanced technology alone, but the ability to work together, think creatively, and fight for a common cause. For the first time in centuries, the Vorthakians had encountered a species that refused to bow down no matter the odds. As his pod docked with one of the surviving ships, Xyler vowed to remember this lesson. Earth wasn't just another planet to conquer. It was a force to be reckoned with. And while today marked their retreat, Tomorrow might bring something far worse. For now, though, survival was the priority. Revenge could wait. Back on Earth, the celebrations showed no signs of slowing down. Cities glowed brighter than ever as fireworks lit up the night sky, painting it with colors that rivaled the stars themselves. People danced in the streets, hugged strangers, and shared stories of hope and triumph. Social media platforms overflowed with messages of gratitude, admiration, and pride. Hashtags like #EarthStrong and #Sentinel Victory trended globally, uniting billions of people under a single banner. In the heart of the Global Defense Initiative's underground command center, Commander Rachel Hayes watched the celebrations unfold, on monitors scattered throughout the room. Her team worked tirelessly around her, ensuring Earth's defenses remained active despite the ongoing festivities. Though exhausted, Rachel allowed herself a rare moment of satisfaction. Humanity had faced its first true extraterrestrial threat and emerged victorious. "Ma'am," Lieutenant Carter approached her cautiously, holding a tablet in hand. "We've received reports from our deep space probes. Looks like the Vorthakians are retreating toward the outer rim of the galaxy." Rachel nodded, her expression thoughtful. "Good. Let them run. We've proven we can handle them if they come back." Carter hesitated before speaking again. "Do you think they'll return, ma'am? Or will others follow them?" Rachel sighed, softly leaning against the edge of a console. "Both," she admitted. "Word of this will spread quickly. Some species might see us as allies worth befriending. Others, well, let's just say not everyone will react kindly to the idea of humans defending themselves so effectively." Her words hung in the air, sobering the mood slightly. While the immediate threat had passed, the long-term implications were clear. Earth's victory wouldn't go unnoticed. In the vastness of the universe, news traveled fast, and curiosity often led to conflict. Despite the looming uncertainties, humanity embraced the moment with open arms. For decades, nations had been divided by borders, politics, and ideologies. But tonight, those divisions seemed insignificant. People who had once fought over resources, land, and beliefs now stood side by side, united by a shared sense of purpose. It was as if Earth itself had awakened, realizing its potential as a cohesive, intelligent species. World leaders took advantage of the momentum, organizing emergency summits to discuss the future of global cooperation. Military budgets were redirected toward scientific research, education, and infrastructure. Factories that once produced weapons began manufacturing components for new Sentinel ships. Even rival superpowers set aside their differences, pledging to work together for the greater good. Rachel played a key role in these discussions, advocating for transparency and collaboration. She believed that humanity's greatest strength lay not in its technology, but in its ability to unite. "If we want to survive in this galaxy," she told the assembled leaders during one meeting, "we need to act as one. No more secrets, no more divisions. Together we stand strong. Divided, we fall." Her words resonated deeply, inspiring governments to take bold steps toward lasting peace. Treaties were signed, alliances formed, and initiatives launched to ensure Earth remained prepared for whatever challenges lay ahead. Across the galaxy, news of Earth's victory spread like wildfire. Alien races that had once dismissed humanity, as primitive, now viewed them with a mixture of awe and caution. Trade routes buzzed with rumors of Earth's sentinels, their advanced weaponry, and their unwavering determination. Some species saw opportunities for partnership, eager to learn from humanity's innovations. Others grew wary, wondering whether Earth posed a threat to their own dominance. Commander Xylar's report to the Vorthakian High Council only fueled the fire. His failure, a rare occurrence among their kind, sent shockwaves through the Empire. Leaders demanded answers, strategists scrambled to analyze Earth's tactics, and military planners revised their conquest strategies to account for humanity's unpredictability. For many alien civilizations, Earth became both a mystery and a warning. A mystery because of how quickly humans had risen to prominence. A warning because of what happened when they were pushed too far. Weeks turned into months, and life on Earth slowly returned to normal, or at least, a new kind of normal. Schools added lessons about galactic diplomacy and space exploration to their curriculums. Scientists continued studying the ancient alien wreckage found in Antarctica, uncovering more secrets hidden within its metallic walls. Engineers worked tirelessly to expand the Sentinel fleet, adding new ships and upgrading existing ones. Rachel remained at the forefront of these efforts, overseeing operations from her command center. Though she rarely sought recognition, her leadership earned her legendary status worldwide. Posters bearing her image appeared in classrooms, museums, and public spaces, accompanied by quotes like, "Unity is our greatest weapon," and "Together, we protect our home." But Rachel knew better than to rest on her laurels. Every day brought fresh challenges, new threats lurking just beyond the horizon. Deep space probes detected unusual activity near uncharted star systems. Strange signals hinted at unknown intelligences, watching Earth from afar. And then there was the lingering question of what the Vorthakians would do next. Late one evening, as Rachel stood alone in the command center, gazing at the holographic display of Earth's solar system, she reflected on everything that had happened. The battle against the Vorthakians had been a turning point, not just for humanity but for her personally. She had always believed in Earth's potential, but now she understood just how limitless it truly was. A soft knock interrupted her thoughts. Turning, she saw Lieutenant Carter standing in the doorway holding a cup of coffee. "Thought you might need this, ma'am," he said with a small smile. Rachel accepted the cup gratefully, taking a sip before responding. "Thanks, Carter. What's the latest update?" Carter stepped closer, glancing at the monitors. "Nothing urgent, just routine scans. But I did notice something interesting. There's been a spike in interstellar traffic near Proxima Centauri. Could be nothing, or it could mean someone's testing our defenses." Rachel frowned slightly, her mind racing. Proxima Centauri, the closest star system to Earth, had long been a subject of fascination for scientists. If aliens were gathering there, it could signal trouble or opportunity. "Keep monitoring it," she instructed, "and alert me immediately if anything changes." Carter nodded. "Will do, ma'am." As he left the room, Rachel returned her attention to the hologram. Earth floated peacefully in the center, surrounded by sentinels standing guard like silent sentinels of steel and energy. Despite the challenges ahead, she felt a profound sense of hope. Humanity had faced its first test in the cosmic arena, and passed with flying colors. Whatever came next, Earth would be ready. Far away, aboard a damaged Vorthakian ship drifting through the void, Commander Xyler clenched his fists tightly. Failure burned within him like a flame, refusing to extinguish. Someday, he swore, he would return. And when he did, humanity would learn the true cost of defiance. But for now, Earth was safe, its skies clear, its people united, and its defenders vigilant. Conquer Earth? Yeah, not so fast, buddy.